I'm here with Tom because we've bought this new property and there's an enormous vine that's just gone mad over the last couple of weeks, and I'm wondering if Tom can help me to figure out how to get the best grapes out of it, really.
Well, I can, and I'm so jealous because it's absolutely gorgeous and it's been really well looked after over the years. I love the fact that it's just planted in the corner of this lovely conservatory here, and it comes up, and what's so great is that the way a vine should be properly trained and grown in a house like this is it needs what we call one main stem rod, and it's off those rods that the side shoots come, and a system of wires is in place, and we can train one chosen side shoot which is laden with fruit and then get rid of the rest. And that means that there's going to be lots of light coming in and not too much shade, so that the grapes will get the proper amount of light so that they can ripen, because the hardest thing of all with cold house grapes is to get them to ripen properly without all the mildew, because they're very prone to getting that. In the old-fashioned way, they had heat from boilers and it was all nice and warm towards the end of the season, and they had them at the beginning of the season to start them into growth. Right. But what we need here is, and this is a good example this time, because here off the rod is coming this side shoot. We've got some lovely strong shoot, we've got bunches of grapes, and we've got other side shoots around it which we don't particularly want. So with my scissors I'm gonna cut that one out, and I don't need it, and just drop it on the floor, and this is the one I've chosen, and I'm going to train this to a wire, and there's a side shoot coming off it with no grapes on, so I can cut that one back as well. And then at the end of the season, Kareem, what will happen is that we'll cut these right back again to the rod, to 3 or 4 buds very close to the rod, and they'll do the same thing next year. Right. And what's so amazing is that we don't know where the roots are gone, as you were saying earlier, probably
plenty of water, so
in the drainage system under the house. So there's something down there that they really enjoy. So they're getting some good nourishment from something. Maybe it's the washing up water over there. But what we have to do now is we do have to tie it up, and they are brittle and quite vulnerable. Yeah, I noticed that one came off in my hands. They do. It's very easy, and they're not something that you can twine, but they do. Vines do have a bit like peas and beans. They do have a tendril system for training. Yeah. But it's not usually enough to support the whole thing, so you have to give it some help. So I'm just, I missed the wire now. I'm just going to tie it very loosely. Yeah. So once you've got 1 or 2 ties, hopefully it will. That should do, really. Yeah. I mean, it's never going to be really heavy until the grapes really start to swell. Yeah. When you couldn't pass the scissors. I do like to take the tails off the bits of string because I think it looks a bit tidy that way. But when these grapes here, Mel, you can see the bunches of grapes, 2 bunches just beginning to, the pollination's been good, the fruit set is good, so they are going to grow and swell, and when they do get heavy it might need more support. Right. So there might be another need for another tie there. And those little bunches there, I mean, do you keep all the fruit that's there, or do you ever take any of the... You don't take the fruit out, you might consider taking the bunch out. As it is, these are set quite sparsely, they're not really tight, so they're going to fill out that bunch quite nicely. Right. You're absolutely right, in the old-fashioned way, bunches were thinned, but you'll neither have time, nor will. You'll just let them grow probably. Yeah. And they happen to be nice. The grapes are nicely spaced apart. Right. I think it's a black Hamburg. It's quite hard to tell at this stage. Yeah. So there's this one side shoot coming off the main rod, and so around it I'm looking to clear things that are going to cause shade for those bunches. So there's a shoot coming up there which I just want to chop off, and there's another big side shoot here. But that goes back to Mel, what you can see is that there's another smaller rod which is coming off the main stem, the main rod. So we've actually got 2. So we've got overlapping, we've got some shoots overlapping this main rod also that we might try and train up to these. So we've got a lot of fruit in this area. So actually we can cut off things that, I mean that's a side shoot that I just cut off, which has a lot of grapes below it. It comes from the first rod, the younger one, and it doesn't need any more growth for those grapes to ripen.
And it doesn't affect the growth, the fact that you cut the leaves.
No, it doesn't. You need to thin out grapes. All the energy is in this main stem.
Yeah.
And it's got more than enough for a whole growing season to produce all the foliage and ripen all the grapes.
Right.
And what the interesting thing is that we don't know where it's getting its nourishment from. It looks really healthy. The foliage is fantastic. There's no deficiencies. There's no kind of white edges to the leaves. It all looks great. You might get some mildew later in the season because it's going to be very dry and hot in here.
Right. But
actually, this is a north-facing greenhouse, so it's not going to get as hot as it were if it was south-facing.
Right.
So you may avoid that.
Yeah.
You might get some red spider mite troubles, in which case the leaves need to be misted down with water through the summer.
There was some shade here, some sort of they just put some fabric sails to. I don't know whether that was for the vine or whether that was just for the general comfort in the greenhouse.
I mean the material is a kind of opaque, rigid plastic, isn't it? So it's cutting out a lot of the UV light, which is good. That'll help it. There's not going to be too much glare. So in this area where we have got lots of bunches coming off the main shoots, as time goes by, it might be wise to consider thinning some of those bunches out, just to take the burden and the pressure off the plant, because it is going to take a lot of energy to ripen a lot of grapes. And this is the plant, as we say, that we don't really know where it's getting its nutrition from, but it looks really healthy. So there's all these short shoots that we're going to keep after these ones that have produced their bunches of grapes. There's a good example of one that's coming off the main stem, but it's going that way. It's produced its grapes here, so we can cut it off there.
Right.
We can just take it off. I'm just doing it with the kitchen scissors. I probably should be using the secateurs, but we're not going to need that one anymore, so we just take it off, drop it on the floor. And the same with that one. It's got bunches back there, and now I can take it off there. And this is going to allow lots more light in. This one's moving back in. All its grapes are back towards the rod, so I can take it off maybe one node, leaving two leaves above like that.
Right.
So it's just a matter of thinning out, trying to support and train